Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Raya, you've spent over 20 years at the top of the media, dealing with different corporates, organizations, politics, I suppose.
Of course, so much politics.
And with all these interviews and with all the questions that you've been asked, there's one part that no one ever asked you about.
Oh, really? Is that the research? Let's see.
So you will allow me to go into your head,
Let's
into your
see.
craft. What I mean by craft is your work values. How
That's
did you
nice.
maintain and you were able to succeed with all the noise around you?
It's very simple for me. I was always very true to who I am. I am incapable of doing something that I don't know how to do. It's very much in my personality. So I was always really authentic in everything I did. So it was not easy to maintain. I didn't need to make any effort. يعني مثلا انه I'm not someone who's very good at واسطات ما واسطات all these things. I can't. So all the opportunities I had in my life were through my own merits يعني. Donc لأنه الواسطة بتجي وبتروح يعني يلي بيجيبك بيروحك. So I never had to. It was always really solely through my talent and my Woody Woodpecker type perseverance that I built my career. So no, it was easy. It was easy because it was organic to me. Well, I don't know how to do it anywhere. مش إنه I found the trick. I don't know how to do it differently.
Okay, this is what you say. And even during this master class, you kept your best advice or the top of the advices were remain authentic,
Yes.
remain natural.
Yes.
That's true. But in any organization or in the corporate world, until you worked with one of the biggest, right? And I'm sure you dealt with a lot of organizations or different حتى مثلا festivals management, the producer, and يعني you can say that there's a situation where you had to say no, but there's a situation where politically you had to say yes, but you were able to say no.
I never get to that point. If I feel like it's getting close to the politics of people I don't know how to deal with, I quietly withdraw myself, but I don't make a big deal out of it. I just don't put myself forward. يعني مثلا there are people that the organization likes to work with. I'm not comfortable with those types of people. I just withdraw and find my people.
So you are being selective with whom you deal.
I try to be as much as possible. أكيد the politics mean that if something is requested from you, you have to do it. إنه كمان you have to be professional as well. But it's also a question of energy. And the people I don't like are also people who don't like me back. So I don't have to deal with it.
I want to go back to the wasta part.
Yes.
Actually, this is a question that I didn't have in mind. But now that you mentioned wasta,
Yes.
I'd rather not go into this path, but especially that this topic was brought up yesterday by one of our colleagues, and which is the harassment at the workplace,
Yes.
in media.
Yes.
Especially in media, I'm not sure, حتى maybe till today, it is still a topic.
Yes.
And it makes me sad when people say and judge مستحيل تكون وصلت أو أي حدا بيوصل غير ما بمحل صار شيء.
Yes, but no, people are very quick to judge. It's absolutely fine and it's very expected. وفي واسطة أكيد in the workplace, not to do only with the bit of تحرش. It's who you know, it's who likes you. I don't believe in the استدامة الواسطة. يعني it's like the nepo babies. إنه الواسطة gets you in for sure for those who get in with wasta. I don't believe it keeps you in for long. Something will always happen. Our colleague mentioned also it's people that are very powerful. It also depends on the milieu you're working with. She had the unfortunate experience to work in a very male-dominated place where she had to make, and she was very impressive at finding, the right thing to do, and she made the sacrifices so she doesn't compromise who she is. I was lucky enough to be in a very female-dominated environment throughout my career. I gravitated towards those people, and I've always people around me were people always very safe, and that made me very safe. And I have always, مثلا, I refuse work if إذا ما بيلبق لي. I tell them myself. No, I remember last year there was the Billboard Arabia Awards, and I kept getting phone calls. I was at the Red Sea Film Festival. It was not good. You should have hosted it. Blah blah blah. I'm like, no. I am not suited to this. My job should host it. This is. I know as a producer myself to recognize that not everything is good for everyone. في قصص بتلبق لي. أنا ما بيلبق لي أقدم برامج أخبار. I don't have that energy. There are people much more qualified than me to do it. No, I shouldn't be in everything. I always gravitated towards the places where I was qualified, where I could do a good job, and then I became the best out of what I do.
There's no doubt that you know how to choose.
Yes, but you also have to have the humbleness of realizing that this I can do, and this I can, and this someone is better than me to do it.
And this reminds me of Elisa, right?
I love her, ever since I saw her documentary. I don't know her very well personally, but she's, you saw her heart in that documentary.
She knows very well how to choose her songs, the words, although she's bombarded with the same haram.
Criticism and hatred that is so unjustified, and people are just silly.
In your case, you remind me a lot of, for example, like Leonardo DiCaprio, like Meryl Streep. They were able to remain at the top of their game decade after decade, like Amr Diab, for example.
And not for the wrong reasons, you see what I mean?
Yes.
For the right reasons, for the talent. And again, so the wasta gets you in, it doesn't keep you in.
What are your 3 core values at work?
Punctuality. No one is too big or small for a job. يعني I don't like a team member that tells me أنا ما فينا أعمل شيء. أنا بعمل كل شيء. No one is too important to do the job. And a core and always be very prepared and professional. Like if I come across as unprofessional, I would not sleep at night. And punctuality. Just it's for me it's a very professional environment.
With your last comment, it gets me, and it reminds me of a story that I went through, where unfortunately I had to deal with a manager where my core values were triggered. And
yes, and it's difficult.
I was pushed to shift.
Yes.
Is there any example or any time in your life
in the very beginnings of my career, and talking about the تخرج, I also had that. Basically, I was still living in Lebanon, and a very powerful TV boss for the channel I was working in at the time calls me and asks me to come to his office. And I don't know how in these situations, because it's happened a couple of times in my life, not really anything serious, luckily for me. I always هيك بديرة حمسية. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, I have something to do, and I just brush it off. And I did lose my job in that channel, probably because of it, I'm sure, because the coincidence was too big. But I believe as Khadija will discover, life has a way توجهنا, and the things that happen in our life are for the right reasons, and it's the universe guiding us. So درت حمسية. I'm so sorry, I have to go.
Well, that's a good tip.
And then you hear so many stories, and you at the time you wish that more people spoke about it. This person was really, and I think still is really powerful and متحرش.
And in this case, or maybe in different cases, you had to confront people, right? And
well, I didn't I avoided in that case. In that case, I avoided. I didn't, because I felt the situation coming, so I avoided it from afar. I didn't need to confront. That would be. I completely admire Khadija for the confrontation, for your courage.
Let's applaud.
That is true. it's difficult, and I wouldn't know what to do with myself. So I was lucky enough that I was able to do the avoidance. But since like now at NBC, this was 20 years ago, and the landscape of television was completely different back then in Lebanon. But at NBC, because we have a lot of assigned and powerful women in the job, we have installed a whole system. There is an HR section where you for complaints about harassment in the workplace, and people do come forward much more than they used to because of how life has changed. We're still very far، خاصة بالوطن العربي الناس بيصيروا يخافوا من consequences ومن العيب ومن الناس اللي عندهم نفوذ they don't bear the consequences of what they do. So of course that exists for sure. But I feel that it's getting better, and hopefully it will get better and better with women being in the right positions in media.
And we're lucky enough that كمان with social media and
exactly
how public figures,
how powerful public figures are, and then بتنزل فيهم
and they talk about
and it has consequences, rightfully so.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, you're lucky enough. And I believe that this shift was for the best as well. I mean, in your career.
Yes, absolutely. I remember I was devastated when they called me and told me that they didn't want to employ me anymore. And what I did at the time is, I moved to London, and I built my huge career after that. Imagine if it hadn't happened and I would have stayed in Lebanon. I don't think my life would have been the same.
It's their loss, and I'm sure he regretted it today because he cannot even invite you to his channel.
I have no idea, and I never saw them again, and how wonderful that was.
Perfect. Okay, so since you've been for over 2 decades again in the corporate world, is there any advice or any uncomfortable truth that you would advise the CEOs or the decision makers in this industry to change in their culture and on the way how it affects?
At the moment, the industry is going through the whole shakeup of social media. So if you're not with the trend, and with that kind of there's a systemic change, not a small one. I don't know that television will still exist in 5 years. I don't know for sure. I mean, we were even scared that movies would disappear after COVID. Luckily, they didn't on the big screen. I don't know for sure that people will be only watching television in 5 years. They already don't. They watch it on their streaming platforms and on their phones and in ma'ati'. So the change is very systemic. So the advice at the moment is to tell all the leaders of the big broadcast channel to, go with the trend. And it's the biggest ones that didn't feel the need for change the latest because they were successful, so they didn't need to innovate.
But from a culture perspective and from the effect of how they deal with things and the effect on people who are on employees. And why I'm asking that, because nowadays Gen Z are making sure to be out of this matrix.
They want to be out of this matrix, but they're going to be maybe arguably out of a job completely. I have had very bad experiences with Gen Z in their work ethics. And
Can you tell us more about it?
Yes, in the sense that someone who comes from my background of very hard work and dedication, and having someone who reports to you, send you like a WhatsApp message about their feelings for like 3 pages. You have to suspend your disbelief that things like that are happening, or asking you for, a free time when they're on holiday or stuff like that. I can't. But there are, to their credit, it's not, there's some Gen Zs are like this, and it's the Gen Z trend. But there's a lot of very hardworking people in Gen Z that actually work as hard or more than my generation did. But I struggle with that culture clash of كيف يعني بتبعتي لي I did not appreciate that, and you're their boss and you're like, excuse me?
Yes, especially.
Excuse me.
and their attitude, it's not based on laziness or on lack of creativity, or they don't want to work. It's just that they don't want a boss. They think they are the boss.
And I wonder in 10 years when they will have a Gen Z of their own to deal with, how things will go.
Definitely.
Well, now it's Alpha, now it's Lola's generation. But yes, as much as I find Gen Z to be dynamic and creative and buoyant and all these things, as much as there's a cultural clash in the workplace, for sure.
One last
Yes.
thing. On a personal level, I mean, not on a personal level, but I mean, what do you do, or do you have any routine, or maybe a small tip that you do to remind yourself, or to check up if you are on the right path at work or life?
I constantly question. At the moment, I'm in a very transitional mode in I feel like there needs to be a what Raya did next chapter.
Okay.
And I'm thinking about what I'm going to do. You know, when you've had a show on air for like over 20 years, I want to do something different. The same, but different in a way. So I am in a full rethinking mode at the moment. What Raya did next, it's the chapter of the thing. I think it's very important and healthy.
We'll be waiting for what Raya did next.
Yes. Inshallah.
Thank you so much, and best of luck on your next.
On my next. Thank you.